Good afternoon. Welcome to this session on examination-based contact classes. My name is Martha, and I will help you go through this session for Mathematics 3. It's for preparing for your examination, so you must pay attention closely. It's not an exhaustive presentation. However, some of the hints are really useful. Okay, it's just to help you. The objective is to help you with your preparation for your 2021 examination, and it's prepared according to the common problems that students experience during the assignment, because the module is long and the time is short. So I picked a few problems that where really learners lose marks, and these are some of the common problems that if solved and you get to master them, then you won't lose marks unnecessarily. So that's where the presentation is based on, and it's according to the markings of the assignment, looking at the answers in the assignments. Okay, the presentation will highlight the issues to be expected in the exam papers. However, it is also important to master all topics in the study guide, because the examination is supposed to cover each and every topic, but each and every unit, but from each unit a topic or two can be taken from there. So it's always advisable to go through your study guide. And when you do use your study guide and other recommended material, please go through the worked example. First answer the worked examples, you practice that, and then you go to the activities that are given without looking at the answers. Then you answer them, you compare your answers. That will just help you to master the content. It is very important that you try to understand the problem before you start answering. This being said, look at the question. What is it that you are being asked? And what information are you given to answer those questions? So it's always important to try to understand what you are answering. Read through as many times as it takes for you to understand. Don't just go through the question once and then you think you understand and you start answering. Some of the tricky questions you'll miss a point or two that will make you misunderstand the questions and get the wrong answer. Note down all the pieces of information that are given. What are you required to calculate? Then you note that, and that's what you will do. So here, the first unit is on interpretation of data. Read, analyze, and interpret data. In many cases, you'll be given, this is on statistical, especially on statistics. You'll be given some data, and with this data, you have some information that you are given, and then you have a question to answer. It's always advisable, first, when you analyze what you are given, you list all the information that you are given so that you'll be able to use that to answer your question. If you start this way, there is no way you can go wrong or you can misunderstand the question. And in this case, I want to caution you to look at mean, mode, and median, those things. And I will caution you also to practice drawing some diagrams like histograms, pie charts, and so on, graphs. Then also practice questions that will help you to interpret your data. So that's what you need to master on this unit for the coming exam. Okay, For the second unit, I'm not going to go unit by unit. I'm just highlighting some of the important issues. It's on concepts, principle, and operations with whole numbers. And here I'm just going to give you an example because I think everyone can get marks on these questions. They are put there so that everyone, at least, even if they are more difficult questions, you will still be able to pass if you can answer and attend to some of the easy ones, like write out the number in words. What I noticed, some students, they can't write out the number in words. So this is the way to do it. At first, you begin at the right. So here we have a number, for example, 42958, and you are supposed to write it in words. I think no one should not be able to tell numbers in words. So what do? The first step, you write out your number in full. Let's write our number is 42958. So what we do, we split it. In two. So let's split it in two, and we put the thousands here, 958. So we leave a gap in between here, between the 2 and the 9. So it's already easy for you to see that this is 1,000. So here you already have 42,000. But how many thousand? Then you can still split the 9, and you put the 5 and 8. You split it in two. Then you see you have 900, but then with what again? Then you have 58. Then it's a 5 and a 0, and then you have the 8. This way it will help you if you break it down. So now you have 42,958. Then you know you can't go wrong. So no matter how big a number is, even if it's in millions, try to split it in manageable sizes. And when you lump the zeros in threes, it will help you. The thousands, you'll be able to read them. Okay, this is just one trick. You can take other numbers and you practice until it becomes easier for you to do. No one should lose a mark just writing out a word, even saying out a word in loud. As a teacher, you should be able to read the words. Thank you. You should be able to read words. Okay. Now we go to the next one. Also a big problem is working out the correct order of operation, just the basics of calculations, the board mass. Here we have the basics, just to do the basic calculations in the correct way, in the correct order. We have brackets of, these are the orders, either powers or roots and whatever you are given. And then we have the operations, which is division, multiplication, and addition and subtraction. When you are given a number like this and you are told, let's say, for example, we have a number here. Let's take this example. We have a number here. Let's say 4 plus 3 times 8 divided by 2. Okay, let's put this in the brackets. Okay, let's put this in the brackets. So where do we start? We always start with the brackets first. But if we are not given the brackets, what do? But first, let's work this out. Then we work out the next one that does not have brackets. And always show your work so that even if you are wrong, you will still be able to get marks for the correct methods, for doing the correct calculations and manipulations. So this is equal to, we leave it 4 plus 3 times. Now we divide, we work out the brackets. And they say the first one, that's why it's BODMAS, the division. We tackle the division first. 8 divided by 2 is 4. Now, the next one is the multiplication. This is equal to 4 plus 3. Now, 4, now this is times. 4 plus 3 times 4. Okay, now we work out the multiplication. So this will be equal to 4 plus 3 times 4 is 12. Then our answer, the last one will be addition. Then our answer will be 16. So this is how the operation works. First, the division. Then multiplication is what you tackle. Then addition. And lastly, subtraction. That is if you have all the operations together. But in this order, then you won't go wrong. Sometimes you may get, if you are not doing it correctly, following the order of the operations correctly, you might get the wrong answer. And I think at this stage, no one should be unable to do just basic additions, division, and multiplication. Okay, due to time, I'm not going to give you the second one. Let's go to percentages. I'm really just tackling the basics that no one should lose a mark on. Normal multiplication, division, addition, those are basic operations. Please practice the BODMAS. Okay, now we come to the percentages, working out the percentages. Percentages is nothing other than dividing or multiplying by 100. You can either add or multiply or divide by 100 to make any number a percentage or to convert to percentage. That is really what percentage is all about. Here we have an example. You can write a percentage as a fraction. We have 20%, which we can write as a fraction, which is 20 divided by 100, or we can write it as a decimal fraction, which you can say is 0.2. And let's say, for example, I'll give you an example. How many percentage okay, let's say in each of the following cases. I will just make two cases. You have, let's say, 3 apples. 3 apples out of, let's say, 10 fruits. Maybe you have 10 different fruits. Out of those 10 different fruits, the 3 are apples. Now we want to know the percentage of the fruits. Okay, let's not use 10, let's say 20. Okay, now we want to find the percentage of apples. Then we have 3 apples out of 20. Of a total of 20 fruits. So what we can do, we divide 3 by 20, and then we multiply by 100 so that we can get a percentage. And that should give us the answer. How many percentage is that? So 3 out of 20, or you can, the one way to do it, okay? We can say This is 3 out of 20. There are many ways to work out the fraction, which we'll also tackle, because I see there is also a problem working out the fraction divided by 20. Then if we cancel out the 0, 2 goes in 30 how many times? Is 15. Then here we have our 15%. Is one way of working out fractions, and it's important to know how to do these calculations. They are everywhere, with your algebraic expressions, with your factorization, simplification, and everywhere you encounter these methodologies. So it's always important to know. Okay, we have this first example. Now let's look at another example of calculating the percentages. Let's say we are given a percentage and we have to change it, because the first one we looked at having a fraction that we need to change to convert to a percentage. Now let's say we have here a question that says 20% of 120. Okay, let's say convert 20. Okay, let's say calculate 20% of 120. How much is 20% of 120? So here we have a fraction out of 120 that we want to know how much of that is a percentage. Let's say, okay, where do we start? Now, because it's a percentage we know is always out of 100. Then 20%, firstly, is equal to 20 out of 100. That's the first step. And then the next step is for us to find out how much of this is this fraction of 120. Then we multiply that with 120. Okay? And we know when a number is standing on its own, it's always the denominator is 1. Then we can just cross multiply. Then we have here, if we cross multiply, is 20 times 120, which is equal to 240,000 divided by 100. And then this goes, the 0 goes, so we have 24 is our answer. Is this correct? How do we double check? Now we want to know if this is the correct answer. We need to check our answer. Is it correct or is it not correct? So if we have 24 and we divide it by 120, how much are we getting? Or is it the other way around? Or we can reciprocate. Sometimes there is a reciprocal. Okay, we will come back to this one when we go to the next one, the other manipulations. Then we come and see how we can check it with the reciprocal. Now, the next thing is rounding off. We need to know how to round off. Sometimes marks are lost when you cannot round off correctly. I have seen some, it says round off correct to 2 decimal places, 3 decimal places, and so on. And a person would have, let's say, 89.89 as an answer. And they will give the final answer as, let's say, 80. Or they give the final answer. Yeah, mostly I have seen it, they approximate it to 80, which is wrong. So what happened here? We have the rule for rounding off. There's only one simple rule for rounding off. You have a number line that starts from 1 and it ends up to 10. Okay, starting from 0 up to 10. And in between here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now, any number that is 4 and less, you round it down. Any number that is 5 and more, 5 and more, you round it up. What do I mean here? If we have something that is like 84, then we round it off to the nearest 10, which is 80. If we have 85 or more, we round off to the nearest 10, which is 90. So this answer that we were having here, it was supposed to be 90. The correct answer here was supposed to be 90 and not 80. So this would be the correct answer because you are rounding it off to the nearest 10. Whenever it's 5 and above 5, you round it off to the nearest 10, which is you round it off to the, you round it up. And then the other one, you round it down to the nearest 10 when it's 4 and less. That is just a basic rule of rounding off. Whether it's decimals, whether it's what, we just look at that. Is it 4 or less, or is it 5 and more? Then you know where to round it off. Okay, now here is also another problem that was encountered in simplifying expressions, algebraic expression. And here you are given an example. We'll follow this example as it is. Let's try to follow this example as it is. Simplify. Then we have an expression here. We have 2x. We are told to simplify. Simplify 2x times 4 times 5x. Okay, now this one, when it's just dots, then it means it only have multiplications. And here is 2x is also 2 and x that we are multiplying. So we were already having our correct order of operation, which is the BODMAS, is what we are still going to follow. Is what we should always follow in mathematical operation. So now we can write this, we can rewrite this is x and x. You can do it together, we can reorder this expression and say is 2 times x times 4 times 5 times x. We can take it out, the x, we can take them out and order them correctly. Then it gives us 2, only the numbers on one side, times 4 times 5 times x times x. Now, we don't have a division, we only have multiplication after ordering. So we still multiply. When we do our multiplication, then it's 2 times 4, which is 8. 8 times 5 is 40. Then we multiply x times x is x squared. Then here we have simplified our expression. Then is 40 x squared. I took this example so that you see, firstly, we need to rearrange and put in the right order. Then we follow the board mass. Then we follow the whole process, which is following the basics operations, which is following the board mass, even in simplifying algebraic expression. Okay. Then there is also another example that is given there to simplify the expression x plus x. We know we only have 2, then we get 2x. Sometimes it gets more complicated, but this is the basics. So once you are satisfied, you can try other numbers. It's really not so difficult. Okay, there's another example here, but this one now is a fraction. Let's try to solve this as a fraction. Okay, this is our second example, and we are told to solve for x, and the equation we are given is x divided by minus 6 is equal to minus 5. Okay, what do we do? I really want to focus on doing the correct order of operations, because that's just the basic. If you can do that right, then you can't go wrong. Okay, now we are dividing. Our denominator is a minus 6. To undo this division, we need to multiply both sides by a minus 6. It's not only when you have a minus, but you want to have the denominators the same. So what we have here, we can do this, is x divided by minus 6, and we multiply both sides. We multiply by a minus 6, and this is minus 5. We multiply it also with a minus 6. Now this one and this one, they cross each other out. Now we only have this left, which is equal to a negative, and a negative becomes a positive, and now we have 30, and that is our answer. So how do we check for whether we are correct or not? We still need to check. When you give an answer, you also need to double check whether your answer is right or wrong. For this expression, it's easy. You can just plug it back into the equation. Will it give you the same answer? Let's do it here. Let's check if our answer is correct. If we get the same, then it's correct. If we don't, then it's not correct. Let's say we replace x, because we were having here x divided by minus 6 is equal to minus 5. But now we found out our x is 30. If we divide that, are we still going to get minus 5? And here we get the minus 5, so our answer is correct. So when you double check, then you are comfortable, you know, yes, my answer is right. You always need to find out. Always double check your answer if they are correct. Sometimes it's just a small mistake that can be corrected. You don't need to write it down. You can do it even mentally also. Then you know your answer is correct, and to avoid some of the mistakes, just some silly mistake that could have been avoided. In preparation for the exam, you are advised to master working with given data, interpret and present, as well as analyze given data. Let's say you are given a table of categorized data. You are asked, draw a histogram and their follow-up questions. You should be able to do that, and your study guide has explained this very well. So just go through those learning activities, the worked examples, and you will be good for your exams. Practice makes perfect. Master the measures of central tendency. Here, I mean the mean, the mode, the median, the range, the quartile, both the upper quartile and lower quartile. So you should practice this also. And for Unit 2, this is the operations with whole numbers that we were talking about. And I can't emphasize enough, practice the board mass, which will help with the common fractions, with decimal fractions, with algebraic expressions, with all other calculations. These operations, you need to master them. It's a pity to see how learners are losing marks on very, very small operations that you could have made even a pass, but because of it, you can't make a pass. Okay? And then for Unit 6, practice operations for measures of length, mass, volume, and the surface area. Practice operations for measures of length, mass, volume, and the surface area. So you need to know, and when you do this, you need also to learn the formulas by heart. Because if you are told to calculate the volume or the surface area of a cylinder, you will not be given a formula. Make sure you know these formulas. And that's where most of the time people fail to get the marks, just because you can't recall the formula. And sometimes when they recall the formula, they don't do the substitutions correctly. You don't put in the correct information in the formula. Please do practice. Even the drawing and measuring, constructing of diagrams, geometric shapes, angles, triangles, and all other shapes. Do those calculations, and as well as how to do the mensuration. Okay, this presentation is not exhaustive. I was hoping to do only the basics, because it's a pity that everyone should at least get a 50%, but because of this small, just rounding off, you are losing mark. Just because you can't add or do the correct order of operations, you are not able to do the fractions, the algebraic expressions, and all other calculations, and you lose marks. That's almost half of the content or half of the examination that is just lost in small things like percentages, rounding off, and the operations. So we need to master this. And we come back to this, how to check for our answer. How do we check for our answer if it's correct? Okay, now we go here, it goes in 2 times, it goes in 1 time, this is 12. So it's obviously, this is giving us 12. So it can be correct. Though it seems correct, it can't be correct. So this answer was not right. So this one, it can't be correct. So I leave it for you to find the correct answer and do other calculations also. And do more practice so that you can check, because otherwise you will leave it comfortable knowing, I have done it correctly, when it's actually not correct. Okay, so this is, we come to the end of our presentation. As I said, it's not exhaustive. The aim was to look at those problems, the common problems that are always coming up from the examination, and I really hope with the coming examination you will not encounter the same problems again, and you will be able to round off correctly and get all the marks, do all your fractions and other calculations, the percentages, all these other operations, and you get all the marks. At least a 50% is already guaranteed, a 60% is already guaranteed if you can do those things. Make sure you study the whole study guide in preparation of your examination. I mentioned and highlighted some of the issues. They are important, but it doesn't mean you ignore the others. Do as many exercises from the textbook in the library as possible. Don't only focus only on the textbook. And one thing also, you are at an advantage because we are in the digital era. There are many tutors online, especially on YouTube, that are doing and explaining wonderfully. There are many mathematics tutors. Look for them. Enter a topic that you want. They will break it down very well for you. Follow those ones and you go to your textbooks and you study. Actually, there you already have a tutor. YouTube is a good tutor where you learn almost every topic and you get to understand it. I can't emphasize that enough. I don't want to lead you to one particular site, but there are many where you can really get very good explanations. If you find any topic difficult or not well explained and you are studying on your own, try YouTube. Practice makes perfect. Practice, practice, practice. Once it's explained, go to the exercises and in the textbooks and somewhere else in the library, wherever online, then you can get it right. Good luck for your examination. Thank you.